All right, legal analyst Melusi Xulu joins us now via video link to just weigh in on this Thabo Bester and co-accused pre-trial hearing. Thank you so much for your time, Melusi. Yet another postponement to this pre-trial hearing. I mean, there are a number of issues that were raised during this particular appearance. I want us to start with what we've just heard in that previous clip, with the application of the motion for jurisdiction, that Bester's new lawyer, Advocate Muela, has submitted apparently, but it's not completed. What would that entail? Just talk us through that, component, particularly the jurisdiction part. Melusi, can you hear me? All right, it seems that we are having problems with Melusi, but we'll try and see. All right, so I understand you're back. Melusi, did you hear my question?
Can you repeat, Unati? Sorry, it was my connection.
I don't know how much of the previous clip that you've heard, but I want us to start with just unpacking, this submissions that was made by Bester's new lawyer, Advocate Muela, who submitted this application then of, a motion for jurisdiction for Bester. I mean, what does that entail?
I think with regards to jurisdiction, I'm not surprised that he's raising that. It's just that he needed maybe an advocate that will be brave enough to raise it. Because remember, if you remember this case last year, he did raise that he wants the court to be sure that he's the right person to be arrested. I think he wanted them to check DNA or something like that. So it's one of those, I don't want to say tricks, but it's one of those strategies that he's going to use that are technical. But at the end of the day, I think the jurisdiction is the right jurisdiction. The only concern, though, which is something that I think you'd like us to discuss, is his ability or his ways of consulting his own attorney or advocate, which I think the correctional services is not helping him with, so that he can properly, have a private consultation.
I mean, that is an issue that has been brought up. It's not the first time I'm hearing about it. It's been brought up in almost every case that Bester has been, appearing in terms of just complaining about unfair treatment behind bars. His lawyer has told the court that, he is bringing this application over the concern of unfair restrictions at the correctional center that he is currently at, Khosi Mampuru. I mean, what exactly can the court do in this particular juncture, particularly as it relates to the many legal representatives that Bester has actually had?
Well, the first thing that is important here on that is that everyone has a right to legal representation. It's a constitutional right, and I think the department must respect that. Yes, indeed, the allegation is that he's a criminal offender that has escaped the prison before, but he still has those rights to consult his own attorney. I think South African law is advanced and a proper, country where the rights of the accused are respected. I think the correctional services must give him that right so that he can properly consult his attorney. And as much as we have our strong suspicions that he's guilty, he's still innocent until proven guilty. So he must properly prepare for his case. So I think the court must intervene and, make an order, or he can apply, in a different manner, or take the matter to civil court for him to get an access to his attorney properly. But I think the court, because it's the second time that this is happening, the court was supposed to lay down the law and maybe give an instruction that he must consult his own attorney. I think I'm saying this respectfully. It's shameful that, he hasn't been able to consult his attorney like any other accused who has a right to legal representation. And his rights, as much as one might say he's not a proper person to get those rights, but he deserves those rights. And I hope that the court, puts his foot down for him to get those constitutional rights that he deserves.
And just this next question, probably a bit two-pronged, but just in terms of the next appearance, all accused are now back in court next week, Wednesday, on the 31st of July. I mean, are we likely then to see movement in terms of this pre-trial hearing here, considering that, of course, the two accused needed time to apply for legal aid? What are we likely to see then also discussed within this pre-trial?
Yeah, well, cases of such nature, you know, they need a lot of money. They need a lot of money. I mean, if an advocate, and I'm just estimating, represent you for a day, a minimum of 10 to 15K or 15,000 needs to be paid. So for accused 3 and 6, they can't afford that. But what I'm seeing here, Nat, is that we might hear in the long run that also the other accused might not have money to get legal representation that is private. So the issue of legal representation is not going to be an issue now. It's still going to be even in the middle of the trial, because one can imagine there will be a lot of witnesses in this case, so it might take longer. So next week, maybe legal aid definitely will be there. But I think what will drag this trial are the issues of Thabo Bester. I know we discussed it before just now, but I think those issues are going to still exist, and they're going to make the preparation not to go smoothly for the dates for pre-trial to be set. So the issue of legal representation, next week it will be certain, but will we have an end to the issues that are borne by Thabo Bester? I don't think so.